I kind of want to finish those Di Serrano pancakes I made.
Ooh, good idea.
We should have had those with the coffee.
Yeah.
To get you a little buzzed.
Yeah.
It's not like getting buzzed with breakfast. Imagine if we had Di Serrano pancakes with mimosas
Ew.
and like Bloody Marys.
I feel like that's
We just got lit. Hey everyone, welcome to A Grade, the podcast where a college professor and a middle school teacher taste, review, and grade America's best coffee roasters, craft breweries, and more. We have new episodes every Monday morning at 7 a.m. And if you want to help support the podcast, just hop on over to patreon.com/agradepodcast, where you can gain access to all sorts of behind-the-scenes bonus goodies, including behind-the-scenes pictures, videos, and a full report card of every place we've ever gone to and graded. So again, if you want to help support us, become an A grader yourself, just hop on over to patreon.com/agradepodcast or click on the link in the episode description to wherever you're listening. My name, of course, is Joe, and I am joined, as always, of course, by...
Hi, everybody. I'm Jackie.
Somehow, because we are recording with daylight savings time at 8-something in the morning, which we never record that early, and I got the intro right the first time.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked. I thought it would take a few. I wasn't ready.
Well, it always takes a few tries, and we cut and we have to edit, so I suppose I've ruined it by explaining it.
No, I like the behind the scenes.
Should we go back and re-record the intro?
No.
Okay. Forge ahead then.
Yeah, let's move forward. Who knows? I might mess up in the next 5 minutes anyway.
Guarantee you I will. So anyways, thank you for joining us. If you're here as a first-time listener, hope you are excited for some coffee and coffee reviewing, because that's what we're going to do today. And if you're a returning listener, yeah, we have something a little bit different for you, because normally, as we said, we like to get out and visit coffee roasters and craft breweries, but today we have something a little bit different because, well, why don't you explain exactly what we have here today to review?
Sure. A friend of mine and a listener of the podcast was listening to our Italy episodes in order to help him plan for a trip. And then he started listening, I guess, to some other episodes as well. And he decided to send us some coffee from a local coffee roaster really close to where he lives in Massachusetts. And we were super excited about this because we wouldn't have had time to go there and try this coffee roaster. But we do have right here, unopened, a bag of beans from our listener. A shout out to Morgan. We are going to open it up live on the podcast, and we are going to taste the coffee.
Yeah, so a few things about this episode, because first of all, I'm very excited by the fact that we have fans sending us free stuff. And if you would like to join that sort of forward progress, as I'll call it, I highly encourage you, because this is awesome. I love a new bag of beans, and the fact that he sent us a bag of beans in the mail is very exciting. Of course, as I said last episode, when we mentioned that this is what we were going to do this week, it could be a bean bomb. We don't know. It could be a disgruntled owner of a business we previously reviewed. We have no way of knowing for sure because we haven't even opened up the mail
This
package.
looks like Morgan's handwriting.
Okay, so that's a good sign. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, some people go above and beyond A-grade subterfuge, to try to eliminate our podcast. You never know. But yeah, so we're going to open this up, and then we're going to, for the grading categories, do something a little bit different, because we kind of sat down and you said, oh, so we're grading with our rubric, which is normally if we go to a coffee roaster or a craft brewery or even a restaurant, it's atmosphere and ambiance, and then we grade the service, then we grade the food, we grade the drink, the coffee or the beer, and then the food. Mm-hmm. But of course, we started saying, oh yeah, we'll grade the service. Oh wait, what?
Yeah.
That was just you going to the mailbox. Or
I think it was A-grade service all around.
Well, yeah, more
getting it delivered,
sending it was
sending
A-grade,
it and getting it and opening it.
Well, anyway, so what are our categories that we're going to do specifically for this coffee review instead?
So today we're going to focus on the way it looks, the way it smells, and the way it tastes.
Right.
Keeping it nice and simple.
And we'll add that up, and then we will come up with a final letter grade. Should be really exciting from the perspective too that I feel as if even more so than beer, and we've had a lot of different types of diverse beer at different breweries, but I feel as if with coffee that I have a very strong sense of what I really like with coffee. Beer's kind of weird because there's a lot of different beers that if they're done well, I will enjoy, whereas coffee Yeah, there's lots of different coffees that if similarly they're done well, I will enjoy. But at the same time, sometimes coffee, it's just there's so many factors behind whether or not it's going to be A grade. And it's very rare to find A grade coffee, even at a coffee roaster. There's so many factors that have to converge. They have to know the beans that they're picking. Everything has to be fresh at every stage in the process. The brewing process as well, in addition to roasting them. So yeah, it should be interesting to open this up and see what we actually have to work with.
Yes, I'm excited. Should I do it right here?
Yeah, go
right.
into it. I'll kind of audible while you're doing this. Or I could just edit it.
Well, can everybody hear the...
I feel like my voice sounds really low in the morning. Is that
It's good.
true?
It's a good radio voice.
Well, it's good because I have a great radio face, so I would like a good radio voice to go with that, ideally. Yeah, I feel as if I could be narrating something. Long ago, in a land far, far away, there was a bag of coffee. Ooh, all right. We have the bag open. Ooh, okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, it looks as impressive as we're acting like it is. So what do we got here? Why don't you read it?
You read it.
You want me to read it?
Yeah.
In my narrating voice. So this is and of course we will put pictures on our Instagram account. Just search A Grade Podcast on Instagram. Or if you don't have Instagram or you want to be really one of the cool kids, just go to patreon.com/A Grade Podcast and we will probably have pictures there too, where you can see behind the scenes. So this is called, oh, I know why you handed it to me, because you can't, you bastard. There's no way in hell
I want to say it wrong.
Yeah, there's no way in hell you can pronounce the name of this coffee. You sneaky.
Well, first say the coffee roaster.
I don't know.
It's a little bit hard to pronounce. I don't want to pronounce it wrong.
So I'll just read what's on the bag. And the first word is, it's not, what's funny, and I understand why you have such anxiety over trying to read it, is because it doesn't look like it should be complicated, because it's only, I don't know, 7 letters. I can't really count because I'm an idiot. But so it's Catalpa Coffee.
Sounds about right. Yeah. Catalpa Coffee.
Catalpa Coffee. Catalpa.
Yes.
Catalpa.
You'll also see it on...
Can I say it like Italian?
Sure.
Because
You'll also
Catalpa.
see it on the episode title.
Catalpa Coffee. So I assume that's the coffee company. And in fact, there's a sort of a, what would you call that? Like how they have wax seals in the past on letters, but it's a paper seal to keep the bag folded up. And that says Catalpa Coffee.
That's
on it
the
too.
roaster.
So that must be the roaster. Okay. And then and then the roast itself, so the type of bean that they, or the name of the bean that they roasted, that's where it gets a little tricky. I think it says Candelaria.
Yeah, you got it. See, I trusted you.
Candelaria.
That's why I was...
I think the trick is just say it Italian, because Italians drink a lot of coffee.
But that's probably from somewhere in South America, right?
Well, it's definitely not from Italy, because they don't grow beans in Italy.
Yeah.
But they do roast in Italy, obviously.
I'll look it up.
Candelaria. I think it's Candelaria.
I'll look up the region.
Well, it says roast light, so it's a light roast bean, which is interesting, because light roast beans, I typically like light roast beans, but there's differences between light, medium, and dark that all have their virtues and values. But yeah, country of origin, Guatemala.
Oh, okay.
So
I understand.
I assume.
Yes.
I believe Guatemalan is Spanish speaking.
Yes.
But so I assume that these words are along that.
Oh, I'm excited about that. That's awesome. So that's probably the region in Guatemala. Cool.
And then it says, it has tasting notes. I don't like reading the tasting notes, because I like to try to sense for myself what it tastes like and compare it to the tasting notes. So I accidentally started to look at them, but I just put my thumb over it, because I want to share my tasting notes and then compare it to what they say. Because if they say, yes, it tastes of elderberry and pear of melon and fruity tooty, blah, 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 like, then you drink it and you say, oh, it does taste like that. Oh, yeah, look at that.
I do that sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, it influences, it biases your perspective. In fact, if you go to a cupping, which is basically the coffee world equivalent of a beer tasting, one of the things you do is you write down your notes, because if you just start sharing it with everyone, they'll say, oh, yeah, I see how it tastes like, that type of pizza. And then that makes no sense. So anyways, did you want to see the back?
Sure, yeah.
Oh, wait. So this is something, I got beef. I already got beef. So this is something that I've only my very best. Why are you reaching for the
I want to
bag?
see the bag. I want to look at
I'll show you the bag in a moment,
Okay.
but I got to point out my beef. This is something that I've only pointed out to a few roasters that I really respect and who I think won't get mad at me for saying this. But I really have beef when coffee, and especially if it's a good coffee roaster that stands by its beans, they're really putting in the work to roast fresh beans and promote fresh beans. So I've mentioned this to a couple of coffee roasters that we've had good interactions with, that I really hate when they don't have roast dates on their bags, and worse when they have expiration dates instead, because in my opinion, expiration dates on coffee are relatively nonsense. If you're getting whole beans, and that's actually a good thing, I can feel the whole beans in the bag. That's a great sign because the beans are going to stay fresher way longer than if they're pre-ground. And these are definitely that, but it says expiration date and it says 09/15/23. So that's almost a year from now. And that's just kind of nonsense. Like, how you want to use these beans in terms of them being the freshest is within the first, I don't know, couple months, 2-3 months at most, maybe. So the expiration date, like, yeah, could you still brew with them up until a year from now? Absolutely. Are they going to be as good? Absolutely not. But there's your bag. It was a good bag toss, wasn't it?
It was a good bag toss.
But yeah, so that's just something that I think is interesting when I see that. And I understand, I again, the roasters I've talked to about that, it sort of makes sense from a business perspective, because if you're shipping and distributing your beans too, you don't want people to see, oh, it says it was roasted on, I don't know, say November 1st, because that's about what date it is. And then all of a sudden they find it in the grocery store or wherever they find it in December, and they say, oh, this is bad coffee, because consumers are idiots and they'll see an older date and assume that it's bad. Whereas actually it's like, no, that's just identifying when it was roasted. Whereas an expiration date, it's ahead. So anytime before that, people see it and they say, oh, it's still fresh. It's still good. So I think part of it is a lack of understanding by consumers, but it's also, it's a practical part of the marketing process. So I understand why they do that, but it's not really indicative of what you're getting in the bag, because I don't know when that was roasted. When they say the expiration date is next September, I have no idea of knowing. But
That's a good point.
anyways, yeah, I'm sorry. What are your thoughts on the bag?
Well, do you want me to talk about how it looks, or we'll save that for after we roast the coffee?
I don't know. You seem like you had thoughts feeling the bag.
I like that there's whole beans in there. It's very simple. It's a really simple bag. It's a white bag with a sticker on it that says the company, the roast, the origin, the tasting notes, their website, and it has the expiration date on it. That's all the bag has. It's a white bag with a very simple sticker on it.
Yeah, sticker logo thing.
Yeah,
right?
normally I'm a little bit more of a sucker for the aesthetics of the bag, but yeah.
So how would you grade the aesthetics of this bag?
A C. Average.
Yeah.
And it's totally a stylistic preference. It doesn't mean it's really good or bad. In my preference, I like when there's intricacies on the bag or even a can of beer. And when you look at it and you want to look at it and you want to touch it and you want to see all of the things that were put into it. So for me, this is like an average bag. Some people might like this because it's very simple, and some people might not care about the way a bag looks. So keep that in mind, as always, when we're talking about our grading rubric. But for me, the look of the bag is a C. How about for you?
Yeah, so I would say that the look of the bag is a balancing of a lot of factors, because I actually like it when it's more simple like that.
Yeah, so we kind of vary there.
Yeah, but the fact that it has the expiration date instead of the roast date, that really I just don't like it for the reasons I was saying. I'm not a fan. Again, I understand why companies do it from a practicality perspective, but I don't like it. I do like that they have the tasting notes though, so I actually kind of enjoy that simple aesthetic. I also enjoy though where there's a little bit of company background or history or mission about what they do. So yeah, there's a lot going on in terms of kind of balancing all of that, but I'm going to go C for that reason, because again, I think it's not something that there's really much else to say about other than that. But did you smell it too?
Yeah.
What did you think?
Well, I want to save my smell grade for when we open the bag.
Well, you can smell through. So most bags you can squeeze, and they have like a one-way sort of vent, so you can
smells really good.
Test the smell. So yeah, let me try it. Well, we can factor that into
it smells really good.
The smell grade, because isn't aroma the second category that we do?
Yeah.
I think we called it smell on the
Yeah, we
grading
did
rubric.
look, smell, taste.
I love how we weren't awake enough yet from not having had coffee to say, oh, aroma sounds better than smell. Yeah, it smells like coffee.
Smells good.
So we'll see when we actually make it. So,
can we open it?
Yeah, we're gonna open it, and then I'm gonna use my fancy pour over gear. If you've listened, you know that's always what I order if I can at a coffee roaster. I'll try to get pour over style coffee, and I actually have my own pour over setup with a Chemex vessel. So if you Google Chemex, you'll see it looks like a Breaking Bad type situation. And that's how I brew my coffee. So, yeah, let's pop this bad boy open and brew up some brew.
Ooh, I can't wait.
I'm going to put in a quick sound effect, and we'll just be back here in a moment.
We'll be back. And we're back.
And we are back live. Yeah, I'm bad at... Apparently, I don't have a good radio voice.
No, you do. So we made our pour over coffee. We have it in our cups.
As we should.
Yes. And you wanted to modify your bag grade a little bit.
Yeah, normally I would say I can't do that because the grades are final. It's like if a student says, oh, I disagree with the grade. Sorry. No can
But
do.
if the student has a point of something that you missed.
Right. If it turns out, oh, yeah, I forgot to count that assignment, then they have a legitimate gripe or beef or whatever that may be. So what I noticed was when I went to open the bag, they actually have this nice little pull tab, which allows you to also reseal the bag by zipping it. And I kind of like that. So what did I give for letter grade for bag?
You gave us C.
I'm going to go C+.
Okay.
Because I feel as if that's a nice little touch. And I like it. So shut up, everybody who disagrees. That's my new thing.
All the people that are outside protesting us right now.
Anyways, so yeah, we brewed this coffee using pour over method. Looks pretty good. Smells really good.
Yeah, when we opened the bag of beans, I was really impressed by how good the beans smelled.
We left the bag of beans in the other room, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Can you go get that?
Yeah, I'll go get it. You just fill some airtime.
I'll fill some airtime. So in the beginning, the origins of coffee go back to 1687 when George Lucas was found in the... Yeah, I got nothing. But a couple of things just to note as Jackie gets the bag of beans. First of all, we did, as she mentioned, use a pour over method. And I should say that I am by far from being a pour over coffee brewing expert. So hopefully I did it justice. So I feel as if our review is inherently skewed because part of the reason why we go to coffee roasters is because ideally they have experts brewing your coffee, whereas I'm just some bum who has a bunch of fancy pour over equipment. So I can only do my best efforts. Having said that, have I brewed coffee before that I think is A grade based on my version of doing a pour over? Yes. And I will say that there were good signs about this coffee. One of the tricks you can do to know how fresh beans are before you even taste them, if there's no roast date on the bag, is to do a pour over because you'll see the first step in the process, which is called blooming the coffee. And the idea of that is to sort of get the whole chemistry going. You sort of start to outgas some initial chemicals or whatever. And that's just by pouring a little bit of water on top of the ground beans. And if it's fresh, you'll see it will bubble up. It will bloom. And if it's older coffee, really, in my experience, it doesn't do that. It just kind of sits there flat and fills up. This bloomed really very nicely. So that's a good sign that, yes, these are in fact fresh beans. And we should have, I think, overall a pretty positive experience with this. So I guess that leads us to, before we taste it, our second grading rubric category, which is smell, aka aroma. So what do you think for aroma?
So I thought the aroma of the beans was really strong and really delightful. I almost felt like I wish that I had a candle that would smell like the way the beans smelled. It was really good. It was a little bit, we were saying sweet, almost a little bit lemony. And I could smell little hints of maybe chocolate or maltiness with the sweetness.
Yeah, this to me smells more sort of on that like lighter kind of floral end. in terms of the brewed coffee.
Yeah, I was talking about the beans before,
Yeah.
but the brewed coffee does smell a little bit different. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's actually a really good sign. So I'm going to go for aroma grade. Oh, I just love smelling coffee. Sometimes I'd rather just smell coffee all day than actually drink it. I feel like I'm going to go for aroma grade. I'm going to go B. I think it's really good. If I think to my favorite A grade pour over experiences, I'm sort of reminded of places in person, such as Aficionado Coffee in New York City, where you could right away
Oh my gosh.
smell that carafe or whatever
Yeah.
they served it in and say, oh my God, this smells like flowers. This is
Wow.
going to be insane.
Yeah.
And then you tasted it and you were like, oh yeah, it does actually taste insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's sort of my outrageous A grade standard, but I think this smells really good. This is something that I would absolutely like to smell in the morning as my coffee. But what do you think?
I'm going to go B plus only because factoring in the smell of the
It's
bean.
nice. Yeah. It's very nice.
I really liked it.
All right. So do we give it a taste? Do we give it a go?
Ooh, finally, cheers.
Cheers. I can't reach, but oh, there we go. All right.
Cheers.
Let's give it a go. 3, 2. Oh, you're already drinking.
I didn't take a sip, no.
Whatever. Oh,
It's good.
that's interesting. Yeah, I feel like I gotta let mine cool down a little bit more.
Yeah.
Definitely kind of on the coffee end. It tastes like
Is it a little bitter?
I just like describing it in ways that are like bogus, you know?
Yeah.
Because people will get into crazy fancy descriptions, and sometimes I just think, yeah, it tastes like coffee. So what's
It
that
tastes
about?
like coffee. No.
It does taste like coffee. That's true.
Does it taste a little bit bitter?
Let me try another sip. It tastes hot.
It tastes like hot water.
I think I gotta let mine.
You got to
cool
let
down.
it cool.
I feel as if I'm not quite getting the full flavor effect or profile.
I'm still getting a little bit of that maltiness.
Can I see the tasting notes on the back?
Yeah.
Because now I'm very curious what the tasting notes are supposed to be.
So the tasting notes are sweet melon, honey, chocolate, and a fleeting floral finish.
Chocolate is what I get.
That's what I'm getting. I'm getting that
Yeah.
malty chocolate.
I'm definitely getting that more than anything. And that's sort of the bitterness, like you're saying.
Yeah.
It's actually really interesting because it's almost like a dark chocolate for that reason.
Which is,
I think.
yeah, it's not what I would associate with a light roast.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of this does depend on like the nexus of the origin of the bean with the type of roast too. So yeah, you see a lot of weird crossover with flavor profiles sometimes for those reasons.
The honey must be what we were smelling in the bean.
That makes
I
sense,
could
yeah.
really smell the honey before in the bean.
Well, and that's something too that as
I'm getting the chocolate though. This tastes like
Yeah,
I would like this
100%.
as a dessert coffee, as an after
interesting.
dinner coffee.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of beans too, they change flavor profiles as the coffee cools down. So that's actually something interesting to note, where you might get more notes of the sort of sweeter, tangier type stuff like lemon as it cools down, as opposed to initially kind of the more bold, chocolatey, maltier type vibe.
I love the wording of a fleeting floral finish.
Fleeting floral finish. That's alliteration I can steal. Yeah.
And it's a really,
writing professor.
I've definitely tasted that in different coffees that I've drank.
Yep. As it cools down. Yep. It gets more complex as it cools down. I get that melon now. Right? Do you get the melon now?
Oh.
You get the
And
melon kind of on the mouth and then the malty chocolate on the more
Yeah,
body.
it starts melon honey and then it
Yep.
goes to chocolate malty and then it finishes flowery.
That's actually exactly what I
I'm
taste.
glad that we read the tasting notes. I think it makes it
But you taste that now more as
Yeah.
it's cooled down, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's something I tell people sometimes too, that a coffee that's too hot, you sort of actually get overwhelmed with the heat of it, which is
I think
kind of
that's what
weird.
happened before. I felt like I was drinking hot water.
Yeah, it just tasted like hot coffee.
So that's good to know.
Yeah, it's absolutely
It's
a factor.
just it's also a
I might have
test
also
in self-control.
Well, it's always a test in self-control, but I actually might have brewed it at too high of a temperature. So, I mean, geez.
But this is what we talk about when we go to coffee roasters. What's really cool is when you go to a place and you ask the barista, what's your most dialed in roast? And before I knew you and was doing this podcast, I wouldn't have known what that means. But I think that there is something about going into a place and actually getting the coffee made by the people that work there, because they can tell you
Yeah.
right off the bat, I have this one dialed in. It needs to be a little cooler.
Yeah.
It's a science experiment. I didn't know any of that about coffee really before I started doing this podcast. I've learned so much. And I would wonder how they would dial in at the roaster this coffee, because I could imagine if we were at the roaster with someone who's been making it for a while and really be tuned into exactly how they make it, that this would be a ridiculously good cup of coffee.
Yeah, so I totally agree with that. And I sort of feel as if I probably got this wrong for how they would do it. And that's sort of a tricky thing. I sort of brewed it. And this is what I was saying earlier, that there's so many factor settings when you think about brewing coffee. You have to figure out the grind size, how finely ground you want the beans, what temperature water, the rate that you pour the water, the balance of bean to water ratio, the weight of the beans to the water.
Joe is out there doing math on his phone, and I'm like, what is happening?
And I am not a math professor. I'm a college professor,
I
but not
never
of math.
knew that brewing coffee involved math until I met you.
But that's the thing. I sort of just defaulted to, okay, I'll just do what I normally would do for a light pour over roast bean. But they very well, and I'm hoping maybe we can share this with them, because I feel like this is really good coffee.
So do I. I really want to go here.
Well, and
we'll have to take a trip.
Well,
visit,
I feel as if I kind of want to share this episode with them on social media, because I want to know, actually, what would you recommend those settings to be? Because I'm almost positive that what I did is not what they would do for this bean.
This is a good bean.
I think it's a really good bean.
And just a testament to the bean too. I normally like my coffee, as most people know that listen to the podcast, with either oat milk or maple syrup or some kind of sweetener, but I don't need it for this. Even with it not being perfectly dialed in, I don't really need it. It's really good.
It's actually really good. And that's actually a really good sign too, because if, as we were saying, I did get those settings right, I think this would be potentially really good.
There's different flavors.
Yeah.
It hits you beginning, middle, and end when you drink it. And that doesn't always happen to me when I have a pour over.
You know what would be interesting? I would love to see.
Wow, that's really good.
And this is something that I think as well, when we say what A grade is and how we get greedy, I would have loved if on this bag it said pour over metrics or something. And it said, as a recommendation, grind size, whatever, weight of beans to water ratio, temperature of water. Because I've heard, I asked
that's a
these
really
questions.
good idea. I've never seen that on a coffee bag, just for the record.
No,
I haven't seen that on any. Yeah.
I asked this at coffee roasters to the roasters themselves. I say, well, what temperature do you brew this pour over at? And I've heard everything from like 190 degrees Fahrenheit to boiling and everything in between. And I know roasters who would say any of those extremes are insane and anything in the middle is insane. So they're all over the map, and a lot of it depends upon different philosophies, different types of notes, different types of balancing of different elements. But that's why I think it would be interesting to know, like, like, how do you guys manifest the best aspects of this coffee through a pour over? But yeah, even that's all saying, even me doing it as a noob, it's really good. It still came out really good, I think.
Yeah. It's really good. What do you think you would grade the coffee? This is a little tricky, because are we grading the bean? Are we grading your pour over?
I think we're grading the whole experience. So what's the third category? Taste?
Tastes.
I'm going to go for the taste for my experience. And I'm going to say, overall, this is really good. I mean, I really like it. Let me taste it again. Yeah, it's really good.
I think I know mine.
I'm going to go B+. I think it's really good.
Awesome.
If I were at a roaster and this is what they gave me, I'd probably say it's more like a B. But because I can taste and this is how good I feel as if we've gotten at tasting, where I can taste those other elements or aspects, I think it's still really good. So what do you think for taste?
I'm going to go a little bit higher. I'm going to go A-.
What?
The reason I'm going to do that is because I think it's...
You don't have to justify your outrageous grades.
Okay, fine. I'll just... you're like, we're on a podcast.
Thanks everybody for joining us this week.
I'm not just... I give it A-.
Tune in next week.
Yeah. No, I think that the reason I'm giving it an A- because I like it this much on a first attempt of dialing it in.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I loved the smell of the beans. This is so fresh. Even though it doesn't have the roast date, it feels really fresh and really crisp. And for a home pour over, I really like it. I think it would be really good in the store. So I'm kind of rounding up a little bit because of my whole tasting experience, getting to have it at home, getting the beans sent to me, the fact that a listener of the podcast sent it, like this whole experience is, I want to reflect in my overall grade, is been really fun. And part of that is how much I like the way it tastes.
So what are our tallies for our individual grading rubric?
So now that we drank
categories?
coffee, maybe we can use more sophisticated words. We started with looks,
smell, taste.
So we started
America.
with looks or aesthetics. You gave a C+, I gave a C. Okay. For smells or aroma, you gave a B, I gave a B+. For tastes or flavor, you gave a B+, I gave an A-.
Okay. I think I know my overall letter grade.
All right, we ready
so it's our overall letter grade for our experience with this bag of coffee being shipped to us by a listener of the podcast.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's the
because
grade.
This could be a whole other category. Like we're getting into fast food, we're getting into restaurants, and we're getting into bags of it.
Grading America's best coffee roasters, craft breweries, and more.
Yes. And more. No, actually, this is cool because we would not have had a chance to go to this coffee roaster, and we're getting to try out beans, and we can very easily, true. I would very excitedly say, if you're in Massachusetts where this coffy roaster is, you should go to it and check it out.
You haven't even
and let
given
us
your
know.
final letter grade yet.
Okay. Ready?
3, 2, 1.
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. 3. You're not ready to
I'm
count
between
down?
2.
Oh, you got to go with your gut.
Okay, fine.
Got to go with your gut.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, B+. Yay!
You bastard, B+.
Yeah. The whole experience was just so much fun. And getting to try out coffee from a different place was so much fun. And I think you did a great job making me a delicious pour over.
Yeah, I am pretty great now that you mention it. So
you're B+.
All right, round up to A. What the hell? No, that's a B+ from A Grade Podcast for Catalpa Coffee. Catalpa Coffee.
My favorite part was
there's no way in hell we can show our faces in this place.
My favorite part
show up here.
was when I passed you the bag and I was like, "Here, you read it, honey."
Yep. Nope.
I just don't want to butcher the name of it. It is in the
Massachusetts.
It's in our show. It's the title of our episode.
Oh, I thought you meant the place.
No.
Yeah. I actually would love to visit this place. So
me too.
If they don't ban us, then maybe we will.
We'll visit my friend and the coffee roaster and go for a hike.
Where is it in Massachusetts? Do we know? We really didn't look up this roaster at all. We
went in cold, which is fun.
Yeah, we went in cold. We ended with hot coffee.
I'll add it to the show description or Instagram.
Yeah. So
it really doesn't say on the bag, which is interesting. Sometimes the bag will say where.
Well, this is nice too because this looks like maybe the type of roaster that would ship if you go to their website. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll link them in the description. And I think if you want really to try really good beans, I mean, it's interesting. If I think about other beans I've ordered, there are definitely beans from places where I just wouldn't recommend it. But there are places I've ordered beans from online and I say, oh yeah, definitely check them out. And I would say this is one of them. So I would love to see what it's like in person for that reason.
Me too.
So, yeah.
So thank you to Morgan. And
shout out.
Yes, to a listener of the podcast and a friend. And if anyone else has coffee that they would like to send us.
Or beer.
Or craft beer.
We're apparently taking
we are
donations now.
we will definitely taste it and we will review it on its look, smell, and taste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you would like to see some of that behind the scenes experiences and content, hop on over patreon.com/agradepodcast. You get all of that bonus goodies if you become an A grader yourself, or just click on the link in the description. The episode, like we said, we'll have the roaster link there. We'll have our social media included. And of course, Patreon, where you can help support us. And shout out to our current Patreons who are all A grade for supporting the podcast because we couldn't do it without you guys and afford all this coffee, which is definitely worth it. So we appreciate you guys as well as always. Is there anything else?
I think that's everything.
I think we need a funny clip for the intro.
Oh, yeah.
What should we do?
Ooh, I'm going to think about it.
What are you outraged about most right now in the world? as I ask right before election day. Nothing to draw
I'm
on
like,
there.
what's
What if we just open with like a hot political take?
We're like, vote! Vote for this person.
Yeah, vote for that person.
Yeah, by the time this drops, we'll know. Election day will be over.
Yeah, that sounds weird, I guess, in retrospect.
Yeah.
But if you're listening to this.
I feel like we're less funny in the morning and more business.
Yeah, I'm just more tired. I haven't had coffee yet.
Mornings are my jam, though.
I do like jam on toast.
Ooh.
That sounds all right.
Do you think it's still a summer day outside?
It looks summer
Should we go
outside.
for a walk?
Do you have time?
Maybe. We'll figure this out off air.
I kind of want to finish those Di Serrano pancakes I made.
Ooh, good idea.
We should have had those with the coffee.
Yeah. I didn't have any yet. I gotta try
really
one.
good.
Yeah.
To get you a little buzzed.
Yeah.
It's not like getting buzzed with breakfast. Imagine if we had Di Serrano pancakes with mimosas
Ew.
and like Bloody Marys.
I feel like that's
We just got lit.
It makes me not. At least once every episode, you make me go. Ugh.
Yeah, that's my goal.
That
in
combo
life.
makes me gag.
Yeah, that's literally how we opened last week's
I guess I
episode,
have a
was you
very
going, "Ugh."
Yeah. I guess I have a sensitive stomach. I get easily grossed out by pairings of different things.
Ugh.
Give me a nice bland pancake, please.
That's not gonna happen. Well, thanks for joining us. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any suggestions, recommendations, all that good stuff.
Or want to send us anything, send
All
us
that
an
jazz.
email or DM.
Yeah, email us, DM us.
Slide into our DMs on Instagram.
You can find us. If you want to find us, you will.
You
People
can
have.
find us.
I mean, remember Ordo the other week?
Yes.
The owner, I didn't have any of my contact information. He somehow found my personal email
Yes.
and emailed me.
It's amazing.
So people, if you want to contact us, it's the information is out there apparently. I was like, oh, he'll email like the podcast. Nope, he found my personal email.
Maybe
somehow.
we should get a PO box instead of giving out our address to random people to send
Definitely.
us stuff.
Yeah. Leave this on a hill by a monument. All right.
Actually, give us a side quest where we have to go through a bunch of different things to find your coffee.
So thanks everybody, and
You didn't think that was funny? You move right on.
yeah, because you can't make references to things that people don't have any context about.
It's funny.
Okay, well, until next time,
Okay.
stay safe, be well, drink well, and hope to see you next week.
Bye.
Arrivederci. You're making references about inside jokes we had the other night.
I'm still laughing so hard thinking about that.
Nobody knows what you're talking about, though.
Go look on TikTok. There's a guy who does side quests in
It is-
neighborhoods.
It is really
It's
funny.
really funny.